In 2014, a crack toy fixer was banished from the forums for talking about repairing vintage toys. Undeterred, this man promptly set up his own YouTube channel located in the Somerset Underground. Today, still wanted by hardcore Star Wars collectors, he survives as a maverick toy restorer. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find him, maybe toy-polloi can help you. Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and today we're going to be making Action Man dog tags, or more precisely custom Action Man dog tags, because in front of me here you see these are the three action dudes, and they're the guys that I feature in most of my videos. These are my sort of custom toy-polloi Action Man figures, and one thing I've always thought they were missing is the dog tags that most of the Action Men used to come with. Now over the years they've changed the design of the dog tags a few times. The ones I most remember are these grey little plastic dog tags, and that's because when I was sort of mainly collecting Action Man as a child, which was sort of mid to late 70s, this was the sort of dog tag that came with the blue pants era Action Man, so I used to have quite a few of these. But towards the end of the Action Man run they changed the dog tags to these sort of plastic ones on a bit of cord, and these are the ones that I really sort of like the look of, because they have a little sticker on the front which gives you an ID number for the Action Man. So this is for the Action Man soldier, and on the back of it there's a whole load of information about the Action Man. So it gives him his name, his height, his age, all sorts of things like that. And I thought it would be really good fun to actually make some of these specifically for my action dudes here, so that they have their own photos on them, they have their own information, and they have their own sort of details on the back. Now this is actually a reproduction of one of these dog tags, because I couldn't find an original one, so I need to say straight away a big thank you to Mick from the Wolfpack website, and also vintageactionmancollector.com. I'll put links to both of his sites in the description for this video. He very kindly cast me a couple of original ones, so this is actually a cast. But today what we're going to do is make some from scratch. Now first up, what I need to do is actually make some new artwork that we can put on these. So I'm going to take some scans and images of various versions of the dog tag into Photoshop, and I'm going to make my own version of it. I also need to take some nice headshots of the action guys, so we'll do that at the same time. Once we've got that, we can then start constructing and making a dog tag from scratch. And this is what I've made, and I've printed this out onto glossy sticky backed printer paper. I've got one ID for each of the 3 characters, so I've got one here for Pinhead, I've got one for Lefty in the middle, and then I've got one for Splits on the end. And I've also created the artwork again for the original soldier. I've actually ended up creating the artwork for all 4 of the ID tags that I could find. I'm not actually sure if there were only 4 made, but I was only able to find images for those 4. So if you know of any of the other dog tags that I may have missed, then do get in touch and let me know, and I will update the artwork on that file. The file for the original tags I will be putting available for free on toy-polloi.com, so you'll be able to make your own. The ones for these custom ones I will also put up there so that you can make your own custom versions if you want to for your own action men. Take your own photos and update the text as you see fit, and I will put that one up there as well. But I'm guessing most people will probably want the original dog tag, so yeah, that one will be there anyway. Now we've got to make the little plastic part of that, and for that we are going to be using 2mm thick styrene sheet. So this is black 2mm styrene sheet. This is just an offcut because you don't really need a lot. The actual dog tags that we're going to make are only 19mm by 29mm, so on a tiny piece like this I should be able to cut out all 3 of them. So let's get marking this up. We'll cut out all 3 and shape them up and see what we can make. So as I mentioned, the dog tags are 29mm by 19mm, so all I'm going to do is very carefully mark on this that shape, and then we'll cut that out. Styrene is very easy to work with. I've shown it many times now on my videos. You basically just have to score it very lightly with a knife, and you can easily split it and sort of shape it. So yeah, it's a very easy thing to work with. So there you go, that's the 29mm line, and then I said it was 19mm, so I'll just mark a line there, and mark again the same here. So you can just about see that on there. I've marked the 2 lines. All I need to do now is get a knife, and then I can just carefully score this. It really doesn't take much to get this to snap. You just do a gentle score line across like that. We'll do the other one at the same time. And then I should just be able to do that to it, and as you can see it will snap very neatly along the lines that I've made, and we've got this thin bit here to do as well. There we go. So that's the basis of our dog tag. We've got an oblong piece that is 29mm by 19mm. Now we need to round the corners and drill a hole. For rounding the corners, I've just got a piece of fairly coarse sandpaper here. It doesn't need to be particularly coarse, but the coarser it is, the quicker you'll get this sanded and shaped. Once we've got the basic shape, I've then got some nail files here, and I can sort of smooth it off. So what I've got to do is round these corners. It doesn't need to be rounded too much. In fact, if you look at the printout of the stickers, you can see this is my sort of guide. So we've just got to sort of round it enough that it will match that. When we come to cut this out, we'll be cutting the grey part away, so that really is just a guide of the shape, and you can see exactly where the hole needs to be. So yeah, let's just get this shaped. As you can see, in only a few minutes I've managed to make quite a nice rounded little rectangle there, and I've just sort of smoothed off the edges just using my file just to make it look a little bit neater, but the overall effect is really quite good. On the edges you can see that it's a little bit sort of duller grey where we have sanded it, and I know some people have said to me that you can actually sort of make that plastic look nice and sort of bright again by using a lighter. I have tried that and it does work, but I just prefer the way I will show you now, which is just to use a marker pen. The lighter does work, it just feels a little bit dangerous and you are sort of melting the plastic a bit. I just find though if you've got a black marker pen you can just quickly draw over the edges of that and it will make it look as the same sort of shade of black as the rest of the plastic, and it's a very quick thing to do, and I don't think it's quite as dangerous as getting a lighter out. It certainly seems a lot easier to me. But there you go, that's the way I do it, just with a black marker pen. And there we've got a nice dog tag now that is the same sort of shade of black all the way round. We do need to drill one hole in it because obviously we've got to put a little thing in the corner. So to do that, I've got a drill bit here in my pin vise. This is actually a 1.5mm drill bit. We're going to be finally drilling a 3mm hole, but it's always good to start with a smaller drill bit. So I'm going to use this one as the pilot hole. And then you can see I have a 3mm drill bit, which I'll be drilling in finally. Again, you can use the guide that I've put on the sticker sheet here. All I need to do is just sort of line this up with the sticker sheet, and then we can see that it's got to go about there. It goes in one corner, not too close to the edge, and we can just sort of drill that through quite quickly. It won't take particularly long to do this, as the plastic is only 2mm thick. So there you go, that's the smaller hole. If I just change over the drill bit to the 3mm size one, we can then use this to enlarge the hole to the 3mm size. I just prefer to do it in two stages. You probably could do this in one go, but I think you have more control over sort of drilling holes if you start with the smaller hole and work your way up. There we go. So you can see we've now got a dog tag with a hole in the corner. It's looking much like the original one here. So now we can go about applying the stickers. This is a fairly straightforward thing to do. So you can see here, this is the stickers that I've made for Pinhead with all of his details on. What we've got to do is just cut out the black area. So you're removing everything else. Once we've cut that out, we can then apply them using a pair of tweezers, and we'll have a dog tag that's starting to look like the original sort of vintage style dog tag. So let's get cutting. Now we've got a tag that's looking really quite good. If we compare it to the original one here, you can see that's not looking too bad at all. It doesn't have quite the same sort of little bevel on the edges, but the overall effect is really very nice. Now these original ones came with this bit of black thread on them, which to be honest is quite good. It does do the job, and you can easily buy sort of black thread. This is just some thread that I picked up from a haberdashery shop, and that would do the job very nicely. But I actually prefer this little chain that's on this one, and these are called sort of beaded chains or ball chains, and you can buy them very easily off eBay. In fact, I picked up a whole bag of them. So I've got one here. This is just one of those chains. You can see that it's quite long. It's surprisingly long actually. This is 15 centimeters long, but that feels about the right sort of length to go around Action Man's head. And this is 2.5 millimeters in diameter. You can buy them in all sorts of different diameters, but as the hole is 3 millimeters, I thought a 2.5 millimeter diameter one of these beaded chains would work quite nicely. So we can thread that through there like so. Threads quite nicely and connect it together, and there we go. That is my sort of custom ID dog tag for one of my Action Men. As you can see, it does look remarkably like the original ones. I just think this chain looks a little bit better than the string. You could always just use the string, but for me that is how I want to make it. And you can see here I've now made the other ones as well. So we've got one for Pinhead, we've got one for Splits, and we've got one for Lefty. So let's put these on the figures and see what they look like. Right, so let me just put this last one onto Pinhead there at the back, and there we go. They've now got their own custom Action Man ID dog tags, and I think it really does just finish these figures off. They now look like they are complete and sort of original Action Men, even though they're wearing my custom toy-polloi outfits. You can see it's a very straightforward thing to do. All you need is some 2mm styrene. You can use the string if you want to, or you can buy these little chains just to make them look that little bit more sort of old-fashioned and action-man-y. It's really quite a straightforward thing to do. As I said, I'm going to put up a file with the original 4 versions of these dog tag images on, so if you want to make those are there. I'm not 100% sure there are only 4 to be made, so if you do know of any different ones that I have missed, get in touch and I'll update that file with the information for the other ones. And if you want to make your own custom version, then that will also be on toy-polloi.com. You'll need to have some Photoshop abilities to be able to update the file that I'm going to upload there, because you will need to put in your own image of your Action Man, and also be able to update the font and retype the text that is needed for the front and back of these dog tags. But that is actually quite straightforward to do. So I hope this video has been of interest to you. If it has, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.